Today we're going to be looking at two different types of molecules. They're again going to be polymers, and one of the polymer is natural from a seaweed, and the other polymer is chemically made. You've probably made it before in prior science classes. It's called glue goo, it's called GAC, it's a common form of slime, and I'll give you the recipe in case if you want to make that as well. This first one though is going to be a little bit more difficult to make because you'd have to have a red seaweed called gelidium. Gelidium, again, a red seaweed, and its body structure is very, very jelly-like. It is suspended in the water, but when you take it out of the water, it doesn't really have much of a structure to it. But its cell walls and interior have a molecule that's called agar. It is a polymer, it's a long chain molecule, and it has gelling properties. So this is the purified form of agar here in a powder. What I have over here is some water that's heated to almost boiling. And I'm going to be adding the agar to this water. And we're going to try to get this agar to dissolve. So we're taking this molecule in its purified and powdered form. And now we're going to get it to dissolve inside of the water. Once it is fully dissolved and fully hot, then we're going to allow it to cool down so that we can see the gelling properties. This is very, very similar to if you make an apple pie. An apple pie with the apples has a molecule called pectin in it. Pectin is also a polymer, and these pectins have gelling properties. So when you cook apples and you get that juice, it turns jelly-like. If you've ever made Jell-O before, Jell-O is also made out of a similar molecule to this agar and the pectins. It's a polymer, it's a long chain molecule. When you heat it up, it goes into this liquid form, and then when you cool it back down, what happens is it's going to have the gelling properties. So I think all of this material is now dissolved. It's pretty much at its boiling point. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be taking it off the heat. And we're going to allow it to cool. But I'm going to be pouring this on the countertop, and we'll come back to it a little bit later. Okay, so we'll come back to this in just a couple of minutes. Meanwhile, what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, and I'm going to give you guys the recipe and the explanation of this slime, this GAC, this glue goo material. So what I've done is I've taken 2 tablespoons of this borax. This borax, the ingredient is sodium tetraborate. So it has boron as part of its structure. Take 2 tablespoons of this and I put it into 2 cups of the water and then stir it up. I actually put it in the microwave to dissolve it because it had a hard time dissolving. So now I have this liquid form, and then I also took some glue, and I took 2 tablespoons of glue and about 1 tablespoon of water. And you can actually vary the amounts. If you put too much water, if you put 2 tablespoons in, what's going to happen is you're going to have a 1-to-1 ratio, and your glue is going to be too diluted, and your slime might be too slimy. If you remove the water and just put 2 tablespoons straight shot glue into this liquid material over here with the borax, it might form it might be a little bit too hard. So it might be interesting for you to experiment with the different types of ratios to get the perfect slime that you want. So I've already added 1 tablespoon of water to my 2 tablespoons of glue over here. And I have about 2 tablespoons. This is a 1/4 cup. I have about 1/2 of a 1/4 cup, which is 2 tablespoons of my borax water solution. So when you pour it in and you stir, you're going to start to get your gelling properties. Okay, and It is also good to do this inside of a plastic baggie if you have it. I've done it inside of a beaker, but you can also bring in your plastic baggie and you can massage it as well. So if you don't want the mess of a cup, you can also massage it like this. You can add food coloring to it. And again, if you added too much water, it'll be slimy. If you didn't have enough water, it might be a little bit firm. So we'll see what we have here. And this is slime. It might be a little bit too firm, but it still has its slimy consistencies and can be stretched. So this again is the glue goo material. And we're going to go back now to the agar. The agar is over here, and it's had a chance to cool down. And if you can notice, when I first poured this, it looked a little bit clear, and now this looks a little bit cloudy. That cloudiness is an indication that it has now gelled. So I can now remove this from the tabletop, and there's one of the agar pieces. There's another of the agar pieces. And there is the last of the agar pieces. So it's very, very soft. It is a little fragile. And I will explain the use and properties of agar in our next video.